Chloe, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really, really good. Really
Thank you
good.
so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, honestly.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Imagine I don't know you.
Okay.
Tell me who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name's Chloe Jessamy, if you want to know the full name. And I run a business support agency. So to me, I would usually go into the deeper meaning of what that service is, but it's more than just a service. We provide business support so that business owners can do less and achieve more. I feel like we're in this hustle culture where being busy is like a trend.
Oh no, I'm so past that trend.
I know, but some people are still in that. Who can do the most?
Yeah.
How much can I get in one day? So we step in.
Yeah.
I'm the founder, obviously, but I have a team to support me.
Nice.
We have tech VAs, we have system strategists, consultants. They step in and help business owners basically streamline, systemize, use technology to help them step away from doing the mundane day-to-day tasks so they can not just do more work, because that's what we used to say, do less and achieve more, meaning do less of the work and go and do more high-impactful work.
Yeah.
But we want them to enjoy the journey, right? So actually just go and live your life, like put the business to a side for 1 second and use that time to go and enjoy you, your family, and all of that good stuff. So,
This sounds wonderful.
yeah.
But what does it mean? Like, what services do you provide? Take me through it, because I know nothing about this business.
Okay, so we provide tech virtual assistants. So let me take you through the journey that we see when we see a client. We used to just provide virtual assistants. When I started 9 years ago, I was a VA, developed to obviously an agency providing VA services. So that's your doer. You can offload your to-do list, they get it done, and things just keep moving.
Like what? What kind of to-do list?
So if you think about research, although ChatGPT now has stepped in, but things like research, inbox diary management, travel arrangements, your kind of traditional PA tasks, as if you were in a normal office, 9 to 5, but remote.
Okay.
So it's on the, I would say, the admin kind of side.
Right.
And then
report writing? Maybe?
It depends on what the client kind of offloads and if the VA can do it. It's that kind of response. So if I was working with you and you offloaded something to me and I couldn't do it, or I'd say, honestly, I haven't done that before, but with instruction or guidance, I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
We could do that. There's this term in the VA industry that you kind of, you never say you can't do it. You just say you can and then you go and figure it out. That used to be a thing. It used to be a thing in the industry. So yeah, there's those services, which is the very basic level. Yeah. But as I expanded, I realised that a lot of business owners were still offloading tasks that didn't necessarily make sense. Right? We're working towards a goal. We're trying to achieve something. But again, in that daily hustle, being busy, just think you've got to get something done, offload it to a VA and they do it. So now what we do is we provide the strategy. So there's like a 4-pillar process.
Right.
Strategy. So it doesn't need to be a complicated one. You just need to have a clarity around what the strategy is.
Okay.
So we always say have a goal and what strategy are you going to do to achieve that goal? So for example, if you wanted to get more clients and you're showing up online, if you want to get more clients, one of the strategies are to show up online more.
Right.
You need more content, you need more ideas, you need more polished posts and editing. So then it makes sense to delegate tasks like that to a VA. So we focus on the strategy first, and sometimes that's where I step in at the higher level. And then after that, we need systems. So not everything should be delegated to a VA because tech and automation is here to support us now. Yeah. So that's where we may go, actually, you don't need a VA to do that. What you need is a tech VA. And the difference between a tech VA and a VA is a more traditional PA kind of person. Okay. And a tech VA will step in and know how to understand how to use digital tech tools, automation, AI, all of that good stuff.
Right. And then, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's evolved with time, to be honest. When
did you start?
9.5 years ago.
Why? Why did you start this?
So I've always had an interest in business growing up. Always. Started my degree in business, but then I had my daughter. So I was in that position, being a single mum, where I had to decide whether, working full-time or part-time. Yeah. So I decided to go full-time. And to be honest, that kind of made me think, I can't do it because I need this, I need that. But I kind of got out of my own way at a certain point and said, no, I can actually self-educate. I need to do what I can in my own time outside of work to gain the knowledge to step into that area. And then actually I quit my job. I would say it wasn't planned, but I'd been planning the business idea for a year. So it all started from typing in Google a new PA role.
Right.
Came across VAs. I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. And planned the concept of the business idea, you know, all the good stuff, the logo, the basic business plan. And then it was one day when my bosses were pretty much, I think they were always out at lunchtimes getting drunk, you know, like going on holidays. Where's the boss now? Yeah, he's living his best life. And yeah, I said I quit. I handed in my notice that day. They even thought I was crazy.
But wait, it was just the spirit just took you.
It took me. Do you know what? The thing is...
because I've been there.
Yeah, it was...
just like, I've had enough.
Yeah, literally, that's what it was. It was like, I'm done. I'm just done with this shit. I'm done. And there was other contributing factors, but, you know, not being able to sit with my daughter every evening, like childminders, feeding her, doing everything that I should have been doing. Then I was diagnosed with a brain disorder.
Oh my gosh.
That was a struggle because I was on medication. I didn't tell them at first.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What happened? What disorder was that?
So I self-diagnosed with narcolepsy. Originally when I went to the doctors feeling tired a lot and I had like this overwhelming tiredness where I could just literally like nod off. But there's other elements to it where you're actually awake but you're asleep, if that makes sense. It's like you're almost like staring into space.
Really?
But your brain's shutting down into that sleep cycle pattern.
Weren't you scared?
Yeah. That's how I had a car crash. So that's how, I was like, this can't be right. I blacked out completely, nearly killed another person. I was okay. Lucky my daughter wasn't in the car. It was awful. And prior to that, I'd questioned it to with the doctors, and they were like, low iron, because I was low in iron. Throughout my pregnancy, I was. So, you know, doctors, you trust them, they're professionals, went with it. And that happened. I was like, nope. So I started Googling again, good old Google, and saw this come up a few times. And I also had some other symptoms, cataplexy, it's called.
What's that?
It's just like a muscle drop.
Right.
So say like I'm holding a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I could just drop it where my muscle just goes. Or if I'm trying to hold my head up, and part of this is the kind of the whole narcolepsy, falling asleep, I can't control my head. So I'll be like, I'm awake, but I'm like almost like just, it's horrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Were
It's
you not,
horrible.
did it give you like health anxiety?
I would...
Did you think, am I going to die?
It wasn't until I had the car crash. Before that, I was just going, getting, when I got, obviously I did get diagnosed after self-diagnosing and was on heavy medication. That was when things started to really get to me because the medication just made me worse.
Right.
But leading up to it, because I didn't know, I think I just kept kind of brushing it to the sides and going. I was like, I just got to go, I've got to pay the bills, I've got to work.
Yeah.
And then taking the medication, I lost weight. So it's actually a medication they give to people with ADHD. There's no cure for narcolepsy.
Right.
And that made me not eat. And it made me on like a high all the time. Like, so by the time I got home, I had all this energy.
I guess it's making you stay awake.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. Yeah. But sometimes, like if I'm sitting at my desk at 4 o'clock and I know I need to get an hour in or an extra 2 hours, I'll take one then, but the effects would last longer, obviously, into my wind down time, which it just started to have all a knock-off effect, which wasn't nice.
So are you still on the medication or did you stop?
No.
Completely stopped?
That was when I started my business.
Right.
So one of the reasons for starting my business was this. I didn't want to keep... I'm not going to lie, my employers were very, very good. I did tell them. That's when they let me work from home.
Great.
I think it was that majority of the time. And I Googled how you could live with it. So I started to look into how other people had been living with it on a day-to-day. And one of the simplest things are sleeping when you want to sleep. When you feel that, because you can feel it coming on.
Oh my gosh, how simple
it's
is that?
simple. But when you think about a 9 to 5...
Yeah, you can't go to sleep
like,
at 3,
let me
2
just go
o'clock.
nap on the couch. It wasn't a thing. So I started with shifting my routine and how I manage things. And when I felt it coming on, I'd simply just shut my laptop. I had no one to answer to in that way, as long as I was still delivering by, project dates or due dates. And you wake up refreshed. Like a lot of people say they can't take a 15-minute nap. Me, I feel like the best nap of the world.
I wish I could take a cat nap.
That's what they call it, right?
Yeah, I wish I could. I can't. I have to wait until the night time.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say that.
Yeah, I can't believe that you're living with this because it's something you hear about, but you don't meet anybody with it. And you did mention it on your Instagram, didn't you?
I did.
How many people are diagnosed in the UK?
They say 30,000 on average have it, but half of those people are not diagnosed. And the thing is, I think this, if I don't know this for sure, but I'm looking at it logically, there's two ends of the spectrum, mild and extreme. Now, I saw a little boy who has it extreme. He couldn't even kick a football.
Really?
Yeah, he went to kick a football, and he cracked his skull, I believe.
Oh my God.
Kicked a football, literally, it's like that. That switch that turns, helps you go sleep on and off.
Gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, I felt actually blessed when I saw that. But yeah, there's still so many people that are not aware of it and probably being misdiagnosed. Because doctor did it to me. They don't fully understand it.
No, they don't. I guess because it's so rare. So because of this, you decided to quit your job and start your business.
I did.
So how did it go? How did you get your first client?
It was my old employer. So,
really?
Yeah, it was funny because I was really close to them, worked with them for like 6 years. There was 3 directors, all male. And at first they were like, are you sure? Because I knew I had a daughter. I was a single mum. Are you sure? Are you sure? I was like, yeah. I explained the reasons. They understood. And then I walked away. I actually cried the next day to my mum. Because, when you're getting that statement out of what bills I've got to cover this month, I was like, Mum, what am I doing?
The pressure, the
right?
stress. Yeah.
I was like, no, I think I moved a bit too fast. But then I used that kind of brain of mine, and I was like, hang on, they're only going to go and employ somebody else to do exactly the same role, which is going to take them forever to train them up on, which they ain't got time for. So I just said, look, I can do exactly what I was doing, but obviously there was some shifting in terms of the role, but remotely on a self-employed basis.
Yeah.
And they snapped it up. So
Wow.
I had my first client within a week.
That's amazing. And then how did the business progress?
So I started as a VI. To be honest, I wasn't planning to grow it to an agency level. I really wasn't.
Right.
It was, at that point, it was more about embracing what I love. Business is what I love. I've always loved what I do, operational roles, supporting other business owners. But then when I got into it, I was like, wow, I can do anything I want. And I'm very much like multifaceted in terms of my skill set. So I do design, obviously the strategy element, the operational element, event planning, all of it. So I just started to kind of branch out and broaden the skills, the services that I was offering, because initially it was just basic admin. Yeah.
And at what point did that come when a light bulb went off and you thought, I can make something of this. This could be big.
I think it was about my 3rd year in,
Really?
Yeah. I think because the first few years I was traveling, I went to Hong Kong, Dubai. I was just going everywhere. I was just enjoying the freedom, which I'd desperately been seeking for a long time. And then I think I had a conversation with someone. And then, when someone's like, have you thought about doing this? I'm like, no, I didn't. And then I went off and did more of my own research, combined with obviously how I was feeling about my skills and what else I could offer. And it went from there. The team got bigger. I put myself out more. Then I couldn't handle the work coming in, so I had to...
Okay, well, slow down. So
Sorry.
That's fine. Round about the 3rd year, you thought this could be big.
Yeah.
So what was the next step?
So the next step was, for me, putting myself out there.
Right. When you say out there, what do you mean?
In terms of embracing marketing.
Right.
Because I was using, I don't know if you know sites like Upwork, Fiverr.
Fiverr, yes.
Yeah, so it's similar to that, people per hour. I was just, my strategy was create a profile.
Yeah.
Hope people come and find me.
Yeah.
And then obviously sometimes pitching on there.
Yeah.
And that was great because I got to the position where I was paying bills and, living comfortably as such, in that way. But then, like I said, from there, it was about understanding marketing. I think that's when I really got into marketing, really understood what it meant to put yourself out there as a business and how to convert your audience into clients.
Because that's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I think people automatically think followers, likes equals...
I mean, I was lost in that vanity metric for a long time, but
that's so good. A vanity metric.
Yeah. So I mean, I had all these things like what you're talking about. At first, I was like, when I did start putting myself out there, the first thing was, oh, my posts are not getting likes. I'd even delete them. Sometimes I think, oh, it must not be good because no one's liked it. But obviously, the more you understand the digital world, and I preach this to my community of people that we mentor, someone can see your post, not like it, not touch it, not share it. You'll never know they even probably saw it, but they'll take something from it.
Ooh.
Or they may even just skip the process that you tell them to do and find you at a different time or in a different way.
That's so good.
And there's no tool for that
So
can tell you they
good.
did that, you know?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started really marketing the business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
LinkedIn was my platform at first.
What do you think of LinkedIn? Is it a good place to go to for as a business owner?
I started there, so I
Yeah.
definitely recommend it, but I moved away from it. I'm kind of going back there now at the moment. I used it lightly in my employment, so I understood that it was a good tool for business professional use. But back then it was more like, you know, got to show up a certain way. Can't be talking about what you see now on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know. I know. Although I haven't been on LinkedIn for a while, but it was very stiff. And I did gradually start to see it change.
It has, yeah.
And I know I started to post some, you know, a bit more gentle, non-professional posts. And I don't think people reacted well to it because it just wasn't that space.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah, but it is changing.
Definitely. I mean, I've seen the transformation, and when people started to do that, I would see people comment and go, "You're on the wrong social channel. Go to Facebook or Instagram." But there's this element of, you know, when you talk about your business, people want to know the person behind the brand. They want to know what you're doing, how you got there, what your failures were, how you overcome them. And to deliver that, you need to get a bit personal and share behind the scenes. And the thing is, one thing I noticed is that someone can say that they are living a certain life just by putting that statement out there, putting one pretty picture or making their life look great. But I feel it's through all these posts that we actually get to go, no, they are really what they say they are about.
That's so
and I
true.
think that's crucial.
Yeah.
If I want to do business with someone, I want to see that.
Yeah, you want to see the real person, authenticity, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so you're starting to market yourself.
Yeah.
How did that work for you? Did you make any wrong turns?
I felt like I made many wrong turns, but I'm very hard on myself. I don't think anything, you know, severe in terms of like I would never do that again.
Yeah.
I think it was more of I can do things better or just navigate it in a certain way. I didn't show up with video. Never showed up with video. That's something that I've definitely been doing the last
So hard,
3
isn't
years.
it?
Yeah. So that's something, and I guess that also adds that personal touch.
Yeah.
But again, video wasn't that big then, 9 years ago.
Yeah. That's so
It
true.
wasn't that big. It wasn't. I could get away with just saying a little picture, this is me. And now it is harder because everyone's doing it. But I would say there were things I could have done better to excel faster. But I guess that's what comes with the lessons we learn. Yeah.
How quickly were you able to employ another member of staff?
So first things first, I don't employ anyone.
Self-employed?
They're all associates. Works for me absolutely fine. I think that was year 3.5. So as soon as I made the decision to grow, I think it may have been sooner. Actually, I started to outsource using Fiverr and Upwork in that for the odd bit that I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with time. Let me just shift that bit there. But I would say part of my team 3.5 years in.
And what was that like? Was that quite scary?
Yeah,
Talk me through that, because it was a very scary thing for me.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because you're trusting somebody else with your baby. And I mean, obviously I had a process in place to protect the company and the work that was being put out. So they would do the work, I would vet it. But again, that got time consuming. So for me, it was about creating systems and processes. So I adopted this very early on to make my business what it is. So if something was being done more than once and it needed to be done in a certain way, I would record, I use Loom now. Back then, probably, I can't remember what I used then. But like recording, not just writing instructions, screen recording, setting the expectation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and just giving like an overall process so there's no guesswork.
So the nice, clear training manual, blueprint for them to refer to.
Yeah. SOP is my favourite word. Definitely my favourite word.
And how did you how did you build up your business and keep finding new clients?
The quality of my work. I'll tell you what, I've never, and most people won't believe this because they think I do, I've never paid for ads. Never done anything like that. I've just done a really good job and referrals just kept coming in.
So you've got a standard of excellence.
Yeah.
And because of that, word of mouth, that which is the best form of advertising.
The best, yeah.
Right. Okay. And did you ever feel at any point overwhelmed with the creation of the business and the clients coming in?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I think because of what I preach and what we do, people would assume that I've got it all figured out. And these are posts that I've put out before. Just because I'm good at giving that to you doesn't mean as the expert I'm good at giving it to myself. I'm the expert at giving what you need. So I've really had to take my own advice the last few years, to be honest, to shift things a bit more again.
Yeah, because you're taking on someone's load and you've got to manage your own load. That's a lot.
It's hard.
It's a heavy burden.
It is. And the thing is, where you want to do such a good job, I would always go above and beyond. And I had an event the other day, and my speaker was a mindset coach. And she said with people like us in operational roles, support roles, she put it like this. She goes, we're in a business relationship, or it's a friendship. And the thing is, you get paid, there's a contract in place, clear, boundaries as such, but I'd be working late nights because my client, really needs this. And in my mindset at the time was, well, if I don't do it, will they still want me? Kind of thing. And that's how it was for me at first.
Did you ever get burnout?
Yeah.
How did you manage it?
At first, again, I was one of those people just going, getting up. The first thing I'd grab was my laptop, sit there, and before I knew it, I'd be like, I'm only doing this for a few hours, and then it'd be like 6 o'clock, and my daughter would be like, Mum, are we doing this? And then I'm putting my stuff off. And then for me, I started to get a bit low because of that, because I did want to do more. I love what I do, so I don't think I had extreme burnout as such, because beyond my daughter, who's now grown, my business is everything. So when people are like, oh, don't you get fed up? I'm like, no, I never get fed up of doing the work, but I do need to know when to stop and pour into me, little things like going gym that I do now, or going to have social time, traveling.
How did you find that balance? Every entrepreneur I've spoken to has told me they've suffered from burnout, me included. And I don't feel as though, especially on social media, people talk about this enough. They really glamorize being an entrepreneur, having your own business. And create a ebook and sell it for £10 and you become, you earn 10,000. Like,
I wish.
you know what I mean? Yeah. It's this real kind of myth, I think, around being an entrepreneur and creating thousands of pounds for yourself. When in reality, you work hard.
You do.
And I know it took me a while to find my balance. How quickly did you find your balance? And what was the light bulb moment for you?
I found the balance when I became miserable. That burn, that feeling where you're just like, I almost didn't enjoy it so much because there was nothing to look forward to beyond that, because that's what I'd created for myself. But my daughter making comments, it was when she started to say things. And when you've got your child growing up and getting to a place where she's like, Mum, all you do is work. I'm like, yeah. And I'm a health element as well. So certain parts of that was deteriorating, not extreme, to an extreme state, but enough for me to go, hang on, what am I doing here? The balance for me was boundaries. So something my clients respect me for. I've had my biggest high profile clients going, do you know what? I'm now doing that because you told me to. Or I'll have one of my clients who said it about 3 months ago. Oh, you go to the spa on a Monday afternoon? I'm like, yeah. And he's like shocked about it. And then 3 weeks later, he's like, oh, I'm doing a Chloe now. I'm like, so
what's a boundary look like for you?
So if I'm very strict with my calendar, being an organisation freak. It's a simple thing as using like a calendar and kind of mapping out. You don't have to have it all figured out, like I'm going to do this and do that. But I make sure that my calendar looks balanced. So is there any me time in there for that day? It could be a walk. It could be just 3 hours blocked out. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but it's there. No one's touching it. That. And I did have some resistance with clients. So when I started doing this, I was like, no, sorry, I can't, because I'm going out of the office. I won't be back till, you what? And it's mad because when you start doing something for so long, they expect it, right? But it was never part of our contract. So obviously I didn't say it like that. I had to, I was being quite honest. I said, look, I'm trying to be more balanced. I've got things I want to do over here and I'm trying to achieve. And there was resistance around it. I think I lost one client because of it. They said,
Really?
yeah, I know it's part of the reason. They didn't fully disclose that, but there was comments leading up to it, and they wanted someone at their beck and call. And I couldn't be that. If you give me, so one of the boundaries was giving me enough notice. I can't just drop everything. And now if you want me to drop everything, you've got to pay double my rate.
Yes.
There's got to be something.
Yeah.
It can't just be give all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talking about doubling rates, did you know your pricing structure, or did you get your pricing structure correct from the beginning?
It's a hard one with the industry you're in because sites like People Per Hour, Fiverr, obviously you could pay a VA that was not based in the UK £5 an hour.
Yeah.
So I think at the beginning I did in line with competitors and the industry standards. But then as time went on, I didn't give myself those pay rises that you would get in a 9 to 5, right? So I think I didn't even increase my rates for a good 2.5 years, I think.
Right.
And then what I also kept doing was, I mean, you have to do your homework, right? What are people charging? How can I come in, above or below, as just part of how you sell your services. But then I realized I'm not all of them, and what I have to offer is unique and different, and it's how I put that across to the client. So I've gone from £15 an hour to £70 an hour, even higher in some cases.
Wow.
But it's the self-value, I think, that we place on ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
It's definitely that for me.
It really is, isn't it?
Someone said to me, I would have paid you triple. It's when a client goes, I would have paid you triple that. I'm like, huh? Little comments like that, and then realising that it's me blocking me in a way.
It really is. I mean, pricing, especially as you're starting out, pricing is such a make or break thing. It can make your business fail, or it can make your business scale in my mind. But I know when I had to increase my costs because otherwise my business was not going to be viable.
Yeah.
It was like I was the fear.
Of
Chloe,
increasing
the
the
fear.
costs. Yeah.
I was
What's going through your head?
petrified. And I really had to dig deep to find out what is this about. And I started to value myself and the services that I was providing. And I really had to know deep down at my core that it was exceptional.
That's exactly the same process I went through.
And when you know that, when you get to that space, you're like, yeah, I'm confident.
Yeah, and I'm confident in saying that now. I used to I would even get to the point where I told myself that, but then get on the call and somehow be reducing my rates again. And it wasn't until I set myself a challenge one time. This was recent actually, because I had a very high ambitious goal in terms of sales figures. And I was like, they're not gonna take it for that much. They were like, yeah, we'll send the bank details. I'm like, huh? But again, that was the whole, and the thing is, once you know the value, not just in you, but in that service, and it's the way I looked at it as just a service when I started. It was here's my skill, you pay me for the hour, but now I understand the deeper meaning and the value it brings long term, the return of investment long term. Yeah. And I can only work with people who understand that. That's I choose my clients now, I say. So
I mean, how grateful are you to be able to choose your clients?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So you say you've got high profile clients. I mean, when did that happen? Because that must be amazing to kind of look at your journey.
It is. Oh my gosh, yeah. Because I had literally my first client I'd been watching for years, and I did job interviews with them. Didn't get it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. They didn't remember me at the time when I, brought this back up. But I was like, yeah, I've had a couple of job interviews to try and work with you. And I think someone else was, I got into a circle, like a community.
Yeah.
And I managed to get some clients within that community, and everyone was like, obviously singing my praises. They were like, Chloe's amazing. And then he called me out on social media.
What?
He was like, Chloe, I think I need your services. And I was like, well, I'm going to take that seriously.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's how it went.
That must have been...
It was amazing. It was like a good feeling.
So amazing. Was that the point where you're like, I've arrived? Or did you feel like you'd arrived prior to that?
It's funny you say that, because I felt that way then. But then it's like moving forwards, I've kind of realised that I did already have that before. I didn't need these clients to validate that to a certain degree. But to have a goal and to to, I think what I love more is that it wasn't just, you know, even it was like a referral to a certain degree, but the word of mouth, the way that happened and the impact of my services that people were saying and preaching and the way he went about it, it made me feel really good, because it could have been another application as such, you know, like that way, and I got the job or whatever, but it was him calling me out. Got on a call and then secured him as a client, and then went on from there.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was good for
Has it changed the way you value or view your business and yourself with working with more high profile individuals, or not? Has it not changed anything?
I think it was like one of those moments where you get a bit gassed, you know, like these are the entrepreneurs that are leading the way in the industry. You look up to them, and I still look up to them. Those clients will always teach me something new, but they also can be, and it's not just them, me specifically, the clients I work with, it's from what I've heard from other people who work with high profile clients, they can want more for less. They can, because of that power and that I've made it kind of thing, I feel like sometimes they expect as well, like that category of expecting, well, people should do it for me for free, or like, you know, that kind of thing. So there is
pros and cons.
Yeah, you look at it as like this all glamorous thing, and then you realise actually it's exactly the same, just to, you know, little shifts here and there. So yeah.
With your team right now, how big is your team?
So this is part of my story. So I had 14 before the end of last year.
What?
Yeah. But I had this mantra at the beginning of the year so I've kind of moved from a virtual assistant agency to a business support agency. We're focusing on those systems and tech VAs. And the mantra was pull back to spring forward.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and this was a big part of the completely removing burnout from my vocabulary in my life, like practicing purely what I preach. And the clients we were working, I had clients that were making my VAs cry, things like this. Then the work.
People are so mean.
Yeah, I know. Horrible. The stories, but that's a whole nother conversation. Then my rates weren't as high as they should have been back then. So I felt like I was still. So basically, I work with a handful of clients.
Yeah.
And I manage my team and the agency.
Right.
And then I match clients with VAs, tech VAs, if that's ongoing. So there's different elements of management, and it still wasn't working for me. I was managing too many pieces. I had partnerships. I've got other businesses.
Yeah.
And I was like, something's got to give. So I handed in one of my biggest contracts with one of my high profile clients. So it's like I was like, sorry, I don't want to work with you anymore. Number one, because all my clients need to be aligned with me now, because it impacts the way I feel on a day-to-day basis. That was crucial.
What a blessing, though, to be able to make that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I took about a 3K cut in terms of my reoccurring revenue. Losing, it was a sacrifice. Money or my health and my time.
Yeah.
I can have all the money, but no time and no actual true happiness within. And for me, peace and time freedom come before that. Obviously, money I need and I want, and there's things I want in life, but when I really dig deep, that's first and foremost.
I really, really get it.
Yeah.
You have to, sometimes, not all money is good money. As
my mum said that
as my mum would say.
Yeah, my mum said that the other week, literally.
So you just have to let some things go. Say no, thank you.
Yeah.
But again, has there ever been a time, even though you've done it, have there ever been a time where you thought, oh, shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, I did. I did. But it's, I've been, actually, if you look through some of my posts, that's what I'm talking about, but discreetly, about when it feels like you're being pushed down and set back when God's really planting you. And so many other good things have come from it, not all necessarily in monetary value, but in all the other things I've been seeking for a long time.
Like?
More time with my daughter. Our relationship has never been as good as it has. We spend so much time together now, and she was always a priority, but when you've got so much things coming in at you, I didn't intentionally mean to like push her to the side or anything like that, but that effectively was what was happening to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of life situations over the last year that's really made me want to value that, like, just really hold on to that more than ever. So there's that. I'm doing more personally, like I'm taking up passions, dance, gym. I've been going.
Yeah.
Travel, like taking the odd trip. Like I just went to Italy randomly the other week. Just
The life of
I
an
can,
entrepreneur.
right? I mean, it's like, I can't. I'm being realistic. I can't do that all the time.
Yeah.
But a few shifts in my diary, I can. And I'm taking afternoons off. Like the other Tuesday, I was just like, right, I'm going to go spend a day with my family. I wasn't doing any of this before.
Yeah.
And it falls into what you're saying, this whole glamorous, just stick a PDF up and all of that. It's not like
It really isn't.
It's not.
It's hard work.
You really got to manage your time really effectively. You've got to be really focused and strategic with what you're doing, not how much you're doing, what you're doing. And that's where I really, really had to analyse myself, to be honest.
So you pulled back to, what was your saying again?
Spring forward.
Pulled back to spring forward.
Yeah.
So that meant you dropped a high profile client.
Yeah, and a couple of others,
And a couple of others. Did you decrease your team?
Yep, so I'm down to 3.
Down to 3.
Yep.
And so how are you intending on springing forward? What's the plan?
So the shift in there's a shift in focus in terms of what service. Everything I was talking about at the beginning, I was explaining the standard VA agency. That's what we were before.
Yeah.
But I found the deeper meaning and what business owners really need now. So it's deep rooted in this whole mindset of I need to keep doing everything. I need to keep doing more. You don't, because if it hasn't got you there already, it's that you're not focusing on the right things.
Yeah.
So I want to help. Being a single mum, having gone through this all myself, I want people to embrace. I don't want any business owner behind. Like, we need to embrace the digital world. I don't care how much you don't like tech. Outsource it, because it can free you from some of these things that you think there's no escape from. So, there's
how
a whole
important is AI in your industry?
The thing is, in the virtual assistant industry, I think everyone's shifting to do more tech VA work, trying to understand it. But I just think it's becoming a thing that everyone needs to understand and be using. So it's growing quickly.
It's growing quickly. And do you feel that the VA business, I know that you're more the business support, but you're still virtual, aren't you? Do you feel like it's sprung forward since COVID? Because I think 9 years ago, it was quite...
definitely.
You know, what's this?
Yeah, definitely. And that's when I actually was talking more about systems, but people weren't caught up then. Like,
Weren't
I've very
ready.
much been ahead all the time, I feel like. And when I'm saying things, people are like, what? And it's definitely grown. But the only problem is the challenge that we face, the virtual assistant industry, is the competition abroad. So that's one of my biggest, like...
Can you work with them?
You can, and some people do, some agencies do. But there's a whole, it's how, do you know what it boils down to? How that VA, each independent VA, forget about an agency, going back to kind of what we said, what they value themselves at. So if you've still got VAs in the Philippines charging a certain amount, or in, I'm trying to think of that location that, there's like a trending area, I can't remember the area, but I think they're like £10 an hour, a bit more. If there's still people charging that, there'll always be, like, a business owner would always probably lean towards going to a VA that is more affordable. But there are benefits to having a VA in the UK, like you can meet in person, obviously the English, all elements like that. But this is, again, one of the reasons why, I mean, I know people who outsource to these companies, but you can't match like what I do. Yeah. It doesn't work as well. It just doesn't.
I can imagine. It's just the you will get it. You just get it a lot quicker, easier.
The quality is different. Like, one of my clients has a VA abroad, but he also has me. Yeah. As a operations manager. So he sees the value in both, but he understands where her limitations are and where I need to step in. So
this business support with systems, you keep talking about systems. Yeah. Explain this to me. When you say systems, what do you mean? Okay, so systems quite broad. Yeah. It's made up of goals, strategies. So you were saying this before. Yeah, because people are usually missing one piece. So I'm thinking, when you say systems, I'm thinking that there's this that's what I'm thinking. You're not thinking that. No, and the funny thing is, at my event the other day, I was showing them how to, basically we started with goals, then strategies,
time management to align everything, and then showing them how they could create a system or use a tool to complement the system.
Right. Okay.
But she didn't like the tool.
What was the tool?
Asana.
Right.
So I'm a huge advocate of Asana. It's where I plan and manage everything within my business and my team.
Right.
And it just wasn't for her. And she was very, very open about it.
Fair enough.
That's fine. The tool's not for you, but the system is still the same.
Right.
So the tool complements the system. It helps you achieve it faster.
Right.
It executes elements of it. So it's actually made up of multiple things.
Right.
But you're right. Most people see a system as, oh, I need to use a piece of the tech or a tool.
Yeah.
And that's that. But it's not. You can use a tool, but where's your strategy? Where's your goal? You know, they all come first.
Right. So you're like in some respects, it's like you're a business mentor.
I am, and as well.
Yeah.
Because I mentor other VAs to embrace the tech element. So instead of just being a traditional VA, we want, so I co-founded Lead Her Way, is what it's called.
When did you found that?
I co-founded it with my partner Charlene at the beginning of the year.
How's it going?
Good. Small community, but already have an impact. A lot of VAs not sure what to do, or there's a lot of noise out there in everything that we do. They're getting a bit overwhelmed with what they should be doing, shouldn't be doing, how they can really make the most of this avenue or this career. And we are now preaching that you need to have the tech skills. This is what's going to set you apart right now. And we're loving it. It's good. Yeah.
I mean, I think VAs now they're becoming more known. I think they're more needed. There's a lot more people setting up their own businesses where they can't have offices, or they can't afford a full-time VA. The business is only going to grow. Yeah. If you were going to give a piece of advice to somebody who was starting as a VA, what would that advice be?
There's a lot of contradictive advice, and some of it is quite old school. In the VA industry. It's a lot of there's a lot of ways that you say you should do things. But for example, when I spoke about personal brand to my community, they were like, what's that? And obviously they saw it as just showing up as themselves in their business. But I was trying to teach them that this could actually set you apart from all the other VA businesses out there. What you could be doing that aligns with you as a person, your passions, that complements or would get you speaking to a person that would connect to a conversion or a sell over here. So I was trying to broaden their mindset, but for that I find you just don't make a move when you've got too much information. I was following a lot of people, and then to make decisions I was kind of like, or I'll do everything again and then be like one's wrong, or, you know, it's just in this loop. So I would say find your community and stick with one that you connect with, not just on a information exchange level, but as people. I think that's been the biggest thing for me.
Okay, so stick with one and kind of shut out the noise from everyone else. Yeah,
a lot of procrastination, perfection is these words. Yeah, I call procrastination. Perfection is procrastination.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. Yeah. So,
what is the one myth that you think people hold about VAs or the VA industry that you would like to eradicate?
Okay, so I feel like people hire a VA and expect the world from them. When I say this, there's different. So in the VA industry, a natural career progression is a VA to an online business manager. Now, a VA is a doer. You need to understand how your business works. You need to understand your goals, the strategy. Your VA is not there to do that for you. And then if you expect that, you're disappointed, because I've had clients go, well, they didn't do this. Well, I'm like, no, that's up to you to figure out as the leader. You've got to be clear on that, then delegate it. So understand what a VA really means. They are your task doer. You need to understand what your business looks like and the end result.
So I can't just come to you or a VA and say, help me. Basically, I need to be able to say, this is what I need done. Right.
Exactly. Like, help me. Yeah. You may be lucky and I've met a few gems, virtual assistants, but they don't know that they should be OBMs. An OBM is strategic. An OBM will manage a team. An OBM will, take an idea and make it a reality. And that's kind of like what I do. Yeah. A VA, typically doesn't. That's why they're less in terms of hourly rate.
What does an OBM stand for?
Online business manager.
Online business manager. Yeah. So I would come to you, for example, say I wanted to set up a new business. Would I come to you and say, this is the business, these are my my goals. I need a website,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to build up a client database, and I need content creation.
Mm-hmm.
Could you do that?
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Really?
I've done that recently, execute a whole project for a client, and they were just like, oh my gosh, I only gave you like
Really?
bare minimal and you just had the vision. So that's exactly what I do. And then I utilize my team now. So instead of less of the matching, more of the taking something and really kind of getting my teeth into it, which is where my passion is, where I thrive.
Do you think that you can see your ability? The reason why you're so good at this is because you can see someone's vision.
Yeah.
With just a little bit of information.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's all about how you digest something, right? And the questions you ask as well. And someone who doesn't really care won't ask the right questions. So I found, and a lot of people sometimes don't as well, if you're that kind of person that believes that asking too many questions makes you look stupid, which I know in my industry, people do feel that way at times, especially with when you talk to a high profile client or anything like that. But in fact, as long as you deliver, that will never get looked at in that way. So yeah, it's just having that, it's holding a vision. And the thing is, I just, for me, the paycheck's great, but it's when I see my client's face light up or that transformation is priceless. Like it really, really contributes to that daily impact and that feeling. I want to get up. I can
imagine.
You know.
Have you ever messed up?
Yeah.
What was your biggest mess up?
I wouldn't say big, you know.
What was your biggest mess up?
A database, an email going out to the wrong database.
Oh.
Yeah, that is quite. And the thing is, when it depends on how sensitive the information is, that was a little bit sensitive.
But it's not that. I mean, all of these years.
To the client, it was a big deal.
But all of these years, that's not really a big.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought, I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. Debated going back to 9 to 5.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have.
Yeah.
I have. And it's like, no.
No, and I even said it to one of my good friends. I was sitting with her and I said, you know what, maybe I'll just go part-time. And then when you really sit and pick that apart, I was like, no. And the thing is, I think, again, going back to that whole people think, I think someone said to me, running a business has become a trend. People calling themselves a business owner, right? But no one really truly understands what that means until they get into it. And then majority of people go back to the 9 to 5, right?
Honestly.
Yeah, because
it's not a joke.
It's not. It's really not. I just couldn't. I mean, I would do it if I had to. I'm not like, not proud like that.
Yeah.
But no, at all costs, I would try to avoid it.
So even though you've wanted to quit or you thought about quitting, you never would.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it'd be easier at times, when you're really like, there's always those highs and lows in business. Nothing's a smooth ride. And those times when I've hit the lows, I'm like, when you look at what salary you could be on and things like that as well, which is I even had an offer one time and I was like, that is very appealing. But it's not, again, it don't give me the peace, it don't give me the time freedom, it don't give me those other elements that are more important. So.
And the autonomy. And there's something really quite beautiful, actually, from knowing that you've built this, you've created this. And a conversation I was having with somebody, the business journey, for me, just feels like personal development on steroids. Do you feel the same?
I feel like it's like made me. But beyond my daughter,
same.
It's made me. Yeah.
Honestly, I agree. It's like I've spent years working on myself, reading the books, doing the meditation, whatever. But business, no, it makes you think on a different level.
It makes you think on a different level. It's made me connect with people on a different level.
Agreed.
It's made me value myself on a different level.
Agreed.
It's so much. You learn so much constantly. Like the people I'm around, I never think I know it all, but I'm just like, wow, like I'm constantly blown away with not just information, but stories. Yeah. There's just so many layers. I don't think it stops. I haven't found a stopping point yet for me.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, you're really deep in. I'm still, newbie in the game. And I'm blown away every day of just how much better I've become. Yeah. I know I'm a better mother. Yeah. I know I'm a better person to myself. I'm a better daughter, sibling, friend. Yeah. I really genuinely believe that. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you would like to talk about or mention?
I mean, I think, I had a dream of running a business from young. And I want to talk about it because I know a lot of people have been there and are there. It goes back to believing in ourselves and letting our circumstances define us and what we can do moving forward. I was predicted A grade student, but being bullied I was bullied because I was intelligent. I was bullied because of how I looked. I constantly kept pushing myself down. And when I kept doing that, I kept finding myself in shitty situations and around crap people. And it wasn't until, I just found that, that power to go, right, no, this is enough. I know I can. And just hold like that. We have the power already. We own the best tool ever. And that is right here, us. And I think it's just believing in that. The bullying and things that contribute to that, nearly lost my life. Then my daughter, it was my daughter that was the defining point. I mean, I would have hoped that before, if I didn't have my daughter, I still would have found this path. But it's so, I think people focus on the wrong things, what I can own and all of this, when really we just need to master our mind to a certain degree and love ourselves. Because since doing that, that's where I'm finding my power. Since really going, when you do that, I'm in the mirror, you are the shit, you are beautiful. Like that tedious, what people may call like a bit cliche. It's that so is true. Helping me step out of the woodworks. And it's funny because in the whole 9 years, I've only started networking, connecting on a deep level, showing up and speaking like this, running events in the last 3 years.
So it's taken
a journey, but I was blocking myself. It wasn't anyone standing there. It was me blocking myself. So I just want to remind people of that.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. You're so right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the conversation.
That went quick.
It goes by so quickly. Would you mind providing just one piece of advice that you would give to another entrepreneur that you think would help them on their journey? Other than, I know what you've just said, which is amazing, but is there anything else that you could give them? I
think I've already said it, but I'm just going to highlight it again. It's a big part of why Supportal exists. Stop trying to do everything and keep up with the Joneses. Really think about where you want to be and make sure that your actions are aligning, but not doing everything, focusing on what you do. It's so important. I just feel so many people are lost in this right now. They jump on social, they see something, I need to do that. Suddenly they're like, their goals over here and they're over here.
Yeah.
So just having focus.
How do we stop?
Do you know what I do? I don't scroll. I scroll on social media to a certain degree, but I'm very intentional about how I network online. I don't do none of that doom scrolling, as they call it.
Yeah.
I follow I cleanse my socials. So anything I don't want to see, I remove. It's a bit harder these days now with ads and everything, but be intentional with where you're putting that time and energy. Like, I know people who spend so many hours online, so many hours out. I'm not saying networking's wrong and doing it a lot. Obviously, it's very, very valuable. But do you need to be out 3 nights a week networking? Do you need to then be on top of that on socials 2 hours, 3 hours a day? Like, before you know it, you're not kind of sitting with your goal and your values and who you are. You're suddenly in someone else's.
So true.
So, yeah.
It's so true. And I've been a part of that. I know that when I started my current business, I just completely came off.
It's the best way. I've heard so many people do that and they thrive doing it.
You because you get caught up in just the nonsense.
And comparison. That's the worst thing for me. I always compared.
Yeah.
Oh, they're there and I'm not, so I'm not successful.
It's a dream killer.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So don't doom scroll. Go online with intention and I guess just channel your energies into your goals.
Yeah, really, Don't try and be, really be meticulous with your time and stop doing so much and really just focus on the right things that's really going to move you forward.
How do we know that it's the right things though?
It's aligned with what the whole system that I was talking about in terms of the goal, really sitting there and getting deep with that. So, I follow the 12-week year goals framework. So I only set 2 at a time now, every quarter. And since I've been doing that, I achieve them. Then really thinking about what is going to help you get there. And when you just these 2 elements alone, suddenly you've got focus. So when you get up every day, you know what you're focused on, and then you have tasks that align with that. So you're not just going online and someone tells you to download this and suddenly you're in a 3-hour workbook. You've got a clear list that takes you 3 hours a day, and at the end of that week, you're not burnt out. You're still focused, you're still working towards a goal, but far more strategically and mindful of how much time and how much you're doing.
And you feel good because you feel productive, like you've achieved something as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, as business owners, we can keep going. There's always something we can do. So we've got to find a way of going, I'm done for the day. Now let me go and enjoy this other part of my life that exists. So
Go to Italy. Thank you so much, Chloe, for being here, for coming on. I've really appreciated it. Hopefully you can come back again.
Yes, I'd love to.
You can tell me how you've sprung forward.
Yes, that's the goal. Yes.
That is the goal.
Yes. Yeah. I'm on that journey. So
thank you, honey.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.